Ever wonder why tech markets just always seem to end up dominated by one or two giant bullies? I mean, think about it. Why did Apple swallow the entire smartphone profit pool? Or why does Google practically own search? The stakes in high tech are absolutely massive, and the reality is there's rarely a comfortable second place. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a seriously prophetic playbook written by Stanford's Tony Seba way back in 2006. Long before the iPhone even launched, Seba essentially cracked the code on how Silicon Valley companies weaponize uncertainty and network effects to build these massive digital empires.
Welcome back to Ben's Book Club. Today we are diving into the book Winners Take All, the 9 fundamental rules of high-tech strategy. Now, what makes Seba's framework so fascinating is that this isn't just some abstract academic theory, right? It's a battle-tested guide written from right inside the arena that completely predicted the crazy platform lock-ins we're all seeing today.
Okay, let's get a quick mental roadmap before we jump in. We've grouped Seba's 9 rules into 5 strategic buckets. First, the prophecy of winner-take-all markets. Then, building the right product, winning the market, evolving to survive, and finally, we'll test these rules against modern AI applications.
So, let's kick things off with Section 1, the prophecy and the winner-take-all dynamic.
Seba's core thesis here is that traditional business strategies just completely fail in high tech. And that's because of digital scalability and exponential cost curves. Things like Moore's Law. Instead of settling into these nice, evenly split market shares, tech markets follow this brutal power law dynamic. The number one player captures 70 to 80% of the entire market value. That's huge. The number 2 player? Well, they're left scraping by on the leftovers, and pretty much everyone else just dies. To win, you literally can't just build an incrementally better product. You've got to orchestrate a business model that practically forces market lock-in. All right, transitioning right into our first playbook bucket, building, where we'll cover rules 1, 3, and 8. This brings us to rule number 1, which is feel the pain, then develop your product. Basically, you have to build painkillers, not vitamins. A vitamin is, a nice to have, but a painkiller solves an acute, undeniable pain that customers will eagerly hand over cash to make go away. Just look at Craig Newmark of Craigslist. The guy literally hung out in user forums just listening to what people were complaining about. High-tech failures almost always happen when engineers fall head over heels in love with their own technology and start hunting around for a problem to solve, rather than just obsessing over an existing customer pain. And that leads perfectly into Rule 3, add value, not features. Get this, there's a totally staggering statistic from Gartner that, on average, only 7% of paid software features are actually used by customers. 7%. That means 93% are paid for but completely ignored. I mean, companies just love throwing in endless features. Think of Microsoft's old Clippy assistant, right? But features do not equal value. Value is what the customer actually wants to use to solve their specific problem. So keep it simple. To actually deliver that value, you've got to follow Rule 8. Design products that are easy to adopt. I mean, why did Skype completely steamroll Vonage back in the day? Because Skype was zero friction. You downloaded it, you installed it, and boom, you made a call. Vonage, on the other hand, had massive friction. You literally had to rip out your existing physical phone hardware just to use the thing. If you want to establish total customer lock-in, you first have to completely obliterate any barriers to getting them through the front door. Moving right along to the next section of the playbook, winning. Here we'll tackle rules 2, 5, and 6. Hedging is expensive and dilutes commitment. This absolute classic quote from Intel's Andy Grove really captures the essence of Rule 2. Focus, win, grow, repeat. You simply cannot be everything to everyone on day one. Seba uses Symantec as a prime example here. Their CEO aggressively slashed non-core, even profitable products, just to decisively win the internet security space. Meanwhile, competitors like Borland hedge their bets, they spread themselves way too thin across multiple software categories, and they completely destroy themselves. You have to pick your specific beachhead, dominate it entirely, and only then do you expand. Now, Rule 5 tells us, sell confidence, not just a product. When enterprise buyers purchase new tech, they are taking on enormous personal risk. Think about it. If they back the wrong standard, or if your startup goes belly up, they could face legal issues, PR disasters, or literally get fired. Winning means systematically destroying that uncertainty. You sell confidence through third-party validation, totally transparent guarantees, and by securing those tough reference customers who signal to everyone else in the market that you are a safe bet. Which actually brings us to a really fascinating question. How do you feel the empty Chinese restaurant? Seba uses this awesome analogy for Rule 6. Convert champions, not deals. If you see two restaurants side by side, right, and one is packed with a line out the door while the other is totally empty, you just instinctually assume the busy one is better. Tech adoption is inherently a social process. LinkedIn perfectly simulated this busy restaurant vibe early on. Instead of just chasing random users, they specifically targeted influential venture capitalists. Because, well, when VC signed up, startup founders followed. And when founders followed, recruiters followed. They didn't just sell deals, they converted powerful champions who triggered viral social proof. Let's shift gears to the final stage of the playbook, scaling and surviving, covering rules 4, 7, and 9. Rule 4 dictates that you absolutely must have a story, and you have to communicate it clearly. Consider Skype's entire pitch: free internet telephony that just works. It's functional, it's crystal clear, and it instantly tells the user exactly what value they're getting. In the tech world, a clear, one-line story beats meaningless, jargon-heavy corporate rebranding every single time, hands down. Then there's Rule 7, which addresses ecosystems and partnerships. F5 networks manage this massive turnaround by building strategic alliances based on clear interdependence, meaning both sides genuinely won. Contrast that with a disastrous, completely superficial merger of HP and Compaq. They basically merged just to fight Dell, totally ignoring the fact that customers had very low switching costs in PCs and would just, keep buying from Dell anyway. Ecosystems and partnerships only accelerate market adoption when there are crystal clear shared goals. And our final rule, Rule 9, is pretty blunt. You are doing well, congratulations. Now change or die. History is literally littered with a graveyard of former dominant tech giants. Micropro, the absolute largest software company in 1984, was killed by WordPerfect. Ashton Tate, gone. DEC was completely oblivious to the rise of personal computers. Kodak was destroyed by digital cameras. These were massive, incredibly wealthy monopolies that absolutely refused to evolve with their underlying technology curves. Success really does breed a dangerous kind of complacency. The companies that died all fell victim to what Seba calls the 5 stages of organizational denial. They start with denial that the new tech is even a threat, then they bargain to protect their legacy margins, they get angry at the market, fall into despair, and finally, acceptance. But Seba warns us, and this is super critical. By the time a legacy company reaches that final stage of acceptance, it's already too late. Their neck is snapped. You have to actively reinvent your architecture and your vision long before the market forces you to. So let's bring this all together in Section 5, Modern Application, specifically the AI wars. It is honestly wild to think this playbook was written in 2006, yet these exact 9 rules are currently dictating the massive battles we're seeing right now in artificial intelligence. Who's building the AI painkillers? Who is out there reducing the massive risk for enterprise buyers? So I want to leave you with a provocative final thought to chew on. Based on everything we've looked at in this explainer today, take a look around at our current tech landscape. Who's today's Kodak? Which of today's massive, seemingly untouchable tech monopolies is currently sitting in denial, ignoring a massive shift, and setting themselves up for a fall? The rules haven't changed, guys. Only the players. Subscribe so you don't miss an episode.